During the Second World War, the Army's Air Force Division was faced with a shortage of pilots. For the first time in history, the Air Force decided to train women to fly military aircraft for non-combat missions, freeing up hundreds of male pilots for combat duty. They were known as the Women Air Force Service Pilots, or WASP. They made a notable contribution to the war effort and paved the way for women military pilots for years after. The Aviators Journal had the privilege of speaking with one of these honorable female aviators, Frances R. Sargent.
I'm Frances R. Sargent. I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I started flying in Atlanta, Georgia, where my family was, and my father had taken me to see the airport, and I thought that was interesting.
Even though women pilots were not a common sight at the airport, Sargent decided to go on and pursue her desire to become an aviator.
A friend of mine and I decided we would go to Birmingham in the airplane. And it was so exciting. When I got back, I thought, I just got to fly. I don't know what made me do that, but that's what I did.
With the memory of her first flight still fresh in her mind, Sargent went to the local airport where she enlisted the help of a local airline pilot who willingly educated her in aviation, even though it was against regulation. Soon after, Sargent received her pilot's certificate.
After I had gotten my pilot's license, the Navy needed women because the men had to go away. Since I had the pilot's license, I didn't have the 200 hours, but I did have the license. Then they started having the women in the Air Force, so I was one of the early people in the Women's Air Force Service Pilot. Once we were accepted, we went to Sweetwater, Texas, for our flight training, and that took 6 months. And our job then was to fly the planes for the anti-aircraft, so if we have enemies coming to the United States, then the people in the anti-aircraft could take care of that situation. I was in the service about 2 years, and then they disbanded the Women's Air Force Service Pilots because the men were coming back from Europe and they needed their jobs back.
As the war ended, the need for pilots declined and the WASP units were disassembled. But unfortunately, the WASP did not get the recognition they deserved. It took 30 years, but in 1977, Congress finally gave these women honorable discharges and declared them veterans.
Oh my goodness, look at this. This is when I was in Sweetwater, Texas. This is the first day. It was so cold. It was February, and look at all of this warm coat and jacket and everything. And it was very cold, but we were so happy. You can see how happy I was. I think anybody should try flying if they like it, because it's just a wonderful thing. So it opens lots of wonderful ideas for young people and young ladies too, even though not too many ladies that do it, but the ones that do it are very, very good.
We salute the Women Air Force Service Pilots for their efforts, dedication, the sacrifices they made for their country, and for the legacy they leave behind.